My name is Andrew Betwain. I'm the managing editor of insuranceinvestor.com at ClearPath Analysis. And today I'm joined by Todd Hedtke, Chief Executive Officer of Allianz Investment Management, LLC. Todd, how are you?
Very good. Thanks, Andrew.
Well, Todd is joining me from Minneapolis, but in December, he will be in New York for our Insurance Investor Live North America 2022 event, where he'll be doing a fireside chat about investment and macro trends from a CIO perspective. So, very interesting topic with a lot to cover. So, I'm going to start off with asking you a few questions, Todd. And my first question is, inflation might be easing, but interest rates could still see further increases. So, what is your advice to prepare for this in your investment portfolios?
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. So, yeah, for sure, the correction is, to me, in play here, but clearly not over. And so, as I look forward and think about how to approach investing, the first and foremost thing is to think long term. Okay, as a insurance portfolio, we're always wanting to think long term. Clearly we need to manage credit pitfalls, but longer term, we have that on our side. This is a correction that will, come and go like all do. And so to keep to one's knitting and think long term, I think that's the key here.
So, okay, we've got the don't think short term, think long term. So what other big trends are you seeing for insurers, whether that's geopolitical or other economic factors or sort of more back office stuff like IT and automation? What are you seeing here that is interesting for these macro trends?
Well, great question, Andrew. Really, the answer is all of those, I suppose, to some degree. But let me pick a couple that I would talk about. First, I would say ALM. We talk a lot about asset liability matching as insurers, and we always have. But more than ever, we've seen interest rates, going down for 40 years. Now they're going up and look like they're going to be structurally higher going forward. So what does that mean from an ALM perspective? Clearly, that's a trend that we need to be thinking about. ESG is clearly another trend that I think many of your listeners would be interested in as well. But ESG is clearly a trend. Tech, we got pretty accustomed to tech and being talking about technology and the importance of that, throughout COVID-19 in particular. But we shouldn't forget that. Yes, I know the NASDAQ is down by 30% this year, but still, this is a very important structural trend. And then finally, we see a lot of convergence in product solution space. Asset managers, private equity, insurers, all coming together. Frankly, I think we're going to see some new solutions out there, and I think customers are demanding that from us as investors.
So we've got your thoughts on the market, what the market is looking to do. So let's look into our crystal ball for 2023. So with inflation, interest rates over the course of 2022 being the big story, where do you see the market going in 2023?
Yeah, great question. Well, it's a very interesting time. As I'm talking here, things remain quite fluid, I would say. But I think we will by the end of 23. I still believe we'll start to see rate hikes level off. Okay. Meanwhile, they will continue to go up, both in the U.S. and abroad. I think that's true. I think a recession is inevitable. It's pretty much locked in. I think we're already seeing that. So with that in mind, I think as you look forward and you figure, okay, recession's pretty much in play, rates are going to level off by the end of next year. Somewhere in that time, I think we become opportunistic. So risk assets start to be very investable again. And keeping that long-term DNA in mind, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for good entry points. I think those entry points start to emerge again in 23. It might be a little bumpy over the next few months, but I do think we'll see opportunities emerge, as we get later in the year in 23.
It's a very interesting point that the recession, some people might say it's never. I'm sure the next person I talk to will say not a chance. So with that in mind, looking forward, which asset classes do you see the challenges and opportunities in over the course of the next year? Where should we be focusing for possible profit and possible warning signs?
Yeah. So, right now, I still think corporates and financials in particular are still good places to be investing. I still do believe balance sheets are still strong. The consumer still can absorb some elements of what's going on right now. So I do think right now that's the case. I do think you see, risk assets, high yield, bonds, equities, some elements of real estate. They probably have another 10 to 20%, to drop from here. So again, given my last point, I think maybe hiding out in some of those, typically safer spots is a decent place to be, but ultimately moving into those risk assets later into 23. I still think private deals have really shown their merit over the last couple of years. I think you'll still continue to see that, but we have to be careful. There are clearly landmines out there, so we'll have to be careful of those. And then I guess my final point, and maybe a little bit of talking my own book a little bit here, not trying to do too much of that, but I think this is really perfect time for some kind of structured protection type of products, right? Market that we don't know, what the timing is. We never really do. So having some kind of structure that protects you from the downside, but allows you some kind of upside. Think annuities, buffered ETFs, which is a core product we sell. I think these are really, really nice ways to go throughout the next, 12 to 18 months.
Perfect. Well, some very interesting topics there. Thank you very much for your time today, Todd. If you've been enjoying what Todd has been talking about, you can have more of him at our Insurance Investor Live North America event, which, as I mentioned, is on the 1st of December in New York. Todd will be the opening keynote speaker at the 9 a.m. in the morning. So get there nice and early, get your seat up the front. And once again, I'd like to thank him for his time. My name is Andrew Petwain. I'm the editor of insuranceinvestor.com. And pleasure to speak to you. And thank you. And have a lovely afternoon.